Welcome to Cryptid Crossroads 505. I'm Larry.
And I'm Vince,
Welcome to the show.
where we talk all things cryptid,
Sasquatch,
aliens,
hauntings.
and anything paranormal you would like to share with us.
You can reach us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
So settle in, open your mind, and enjoy the show.
Go back to the Sasquatch topic because it's what we like.
Right.
And we hope you like it too.
Yeah. Now, just first off, New Mexico's a mess with the fires and the
Right.
wind. We would have probably been ready for our first camping trip up to the mountains, but they locked up everything tight. The last time they did this, they even had barrels on the side of the road where you couldn't even pull over.
Right?
Now, I have a friend, his grandson works for the Forest Service in Grants, and if you're familiar with the area, you know Mount Taylor or the Zuni Mountains. There's been some sightings there, but anyway, they've been up there closing roads and posting signs. Even hikers, if they catch you up there, it's $1,000 fine.
Wow. I mean, but it's so dry and the fires are just breaking out. They you know, it'd be sad for someone to get caught in the midst of it because a fire will jump and it'll spread quicker than you could run.
Right.
But anyway, you know, that being said, we hope all the Squatches are safe up there.
Right, and that's what crossed my mind. I mean, how much of the wildlife has been devastated up in the Jemez?
Well, I have
or throughout the state.
Right, I have some friends that have property up north where the fire's really blazing, and I've heard stories that the wildlife is just running rampant through everybody's property. One woman said a bear was at her glass door trying to get in because, you know, they're looking for cover too, and it's sad what's going on up there. But you know, right now it's the largest fire in the country.
Right, and I want to say the big one blazing here is the largest in New Mexico history.
That's right. It is. It's
sad.
It is
It's
sad.
sad, especially us wildlife lovers, love going to the mountains, the forest.
That's right.
It's devastating.
It is. It's not fun, but
Right, we might have to switch back to ghost hunting.
well, we'll do what we got to do.
Right.
But on that note, we're going to talk a little bit about, so we've been, you know, if you've been listening to the last episodes, we've been talking about Expedition Bigfoot and what's been going on with them. And, you know, I really like that show. It's a cool show. Is it all factual? Who knows? I'm not there, but I like what they do.
Right.
And they do it better than anyone on TV right now.
I agree. Now, if you're a member of their Facebook page, there's always a lot of debate going back and forth where people, oh, this is fake, this is staged, it's all scripted, blah, blah, blah. And you got to understand, you know, they do a good job. I like the way they do it, but it is for television. You got to remember that.
So when you do it for television, you're always going to get that little bit of a, I don't want to say line, but they're going to entice you with a little bit of drama.
Suspense.
So in suspense, yeah.
Right.
And that's what keeps you coming back for more, you know.
Right, and if they didn't do that, no one would watch a show, to be honest.
That's right. But they are out there and they are looking and they're using good technology and they're doing a good job. And we want to talk about an episode that they were going up in the mountain and they found what was supposedly habitation nest. It looked like several, not just one, but several of them were nesting in the area.
Right, and it was interesting because Russell Accord is the one who found it.
Russell, yeah.
And he called the other two, Maria and what's that guy's name?
Jack Russell? No, I don't know.
Maria and...
I always forget his name.
Yeah, the other guy. But anyway, because they're always a team, he called them to take a look at it. And Maria right away, she's like Renee on Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, she's the skeptic.
She's a skeptic. She's the one with the college degree in the field. And she wants to debunk it right away. Oh, it looks like this fell. And Russell told her, but look, something's been laying in it because it's cradled.
Right. And that was the one in the tree. And when I looked at it, I'm like, he's right. It did look like a lookout in a tree where you could kick back, get some rest, but at the same time, if anyone's approaching, you could see clearly the whole valley, and
Right.
you're notified.
And her thing was, it don't look like it was built by something. It looked like those branches had just fallen there. I've never seen that, the way the branches fall in, what do they call it, the crook of a tree, or
Right.
I've never seen that many like that.
No, when she said that, I wanted to say, I get it. That's your part on this series, but look, how can you debunk that? That was truly built by someone with hands.
Right. And the other nests were pretty much on the ground, right?
Yeah.
So they were thinking that's either the alpha male or the lookout.
I think they were on point when they said the lookout, because just the vantage point that it had to see who's approaching, I think it would have been the lookout. I think the alpha male would, unless the alpha male is the lookout, the alpha male would have been kicking back in the other nest down below with all the chiquitas.
With all the squatchichis.
Right. Yeah, so, you know.
But then again, it could have been the alpha male, because maybe the lookouts, the scouts, are on the perimeter.
Could be, and you know, maybe he sets up there and he is the alpha male, so it is his job to ultimately protect the clan.
Right. And or else, who knows, the alpha male could be like Gene Simmons. He could lay up there and just point to one of the ladies and she'll run right up.
Gene Simmons.
Not to be confused with Richard Simmons.
That's right. I don't think Richard Simmons points at any ladies.
Well, anyway, get back on track.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that it was an interesting find, and Maria, of course, tries to debunk everything, and I understand she's going to her scientific method, and then they found this other section where these sticks and twigs were placed intentionally. It looked like a tiny nest,
Right.
and one of the theories was it was the juveniles copying the parents that made the nest. They're making smaller ones, just practicing.
They were mimicking, yeah, and that was a good point too. And I when I looked at the nest, I was like, man, they were pretty big, you know, and they look like they've been there a while. So it's not like, even if they said, well, let's set these up, I don't think they were built just for show and just for the TV series. But
we weren't there. So
we weren't there, so we can't say. But it was a pretty good, interesting find. And if you're into this topic, it makes you wonder, you know, because I was reading something online. I was trying to find as many Bigfoot sites online yesterday that I could go to. And I found an interesting one that was talking about, you know, if you're in the forest, and if they said no matter what, if you see one, guaranteed there are others around, because the theory now is they travel in groups, and if you see one and it's leading you off in another direction, you know, it is believed that they're distracting you while the other ones make the great getaway. But these creatures are so big and strong, they don't need to make a great getaway. They would rip us in half.
Right, but I think, like we've talked about in previous episodes, they know the destruction mankind's capable of.
They do.
So I think they would rather not deal with us.
Now, I need to read a little more and maybe take some notes, because I found a couple of websites that were really, really interesting, and how they're tying it into, you know, like a hybrid prehistoric man that, you know, here's one of the examples they gave. They said it took us forever to find the mountain gorilla.
Right.
And, you know, we all said, well, Gigantopithecus is extinct. Well, we don't know if there were any offshoots from that breed. And they said, here we are. We know that the mountain gorilla exists, and a male mountain gorilla can get 6 feet tall. And that's pretty big for a gorilla.
And 6 feet tall, and they could weigh 400 or 500 pounds.
Yep, 450 to 500 pounds. And they said, but yet when we go and we hunt them, they said, we smell them, we see their tracks, we see where they've been in the bush, and we know they're around, but we could never find them. So if those gorillas, which we have captured and put in the zoo, can elude people that are searching for them, why can't these creatures
Right, and
Yeah.
and they say for the longest time the mountain gorilla was like Sasquatch. They said it was a myth,
Right.
random sightings, but nobody had any solid proof.
Yeah, and that's what they said. But lo and behold, it's like, and we've said it before, like the panda. It took a 60-year expedition to find the panda bear.
Right,
And that was full-time expedition, scouring the jungles of China, and they stumbled across it finally, and there it is. So I think us weekend warriors, it's not going to happen unless we get teams that are living full-fledged and just scouring the forest.
right. Now that would take professional scientists,
Right.
and it would have to be government funded to stay out there so long.
Right.
And like you said, we're weekend warriors. We go do what we can do on our days off. And I mean, there's been some good footage. A lot of it's debatable. Some people yes, some people no. But there is some evidence, but the scientific world will not accept it because we have no body, we have no living specimen. We don't. Now, there's been theories about the government having
Right.
one.
So let's put this into perspective. So they said that in the jungles of Africa when they're looking for the mountain gorilla, probably in the Congo, and they said there's roughly like 12,000 square miles of mountain ranges that they're looking for them, and they said, and they're so elusive. Now let's take it to the state of Washington alone, where these creatures are seen many times. The Cascadian Mountains, let's take it there. So that mountain range is 52, I'm going to round it up, 52,000 square miles of forest that is undeveloped. So if you think you're going to bump into them on a weekend out in the forest, I think you're wrong. Only the lucky ones
Right.
have the encounters, what this website was saying.
Right, and here, the mountain range we go to, it goes up into Colorado, but the section we go to is just a speck on the map compared to that. And but yet there's been sightings.
Right.
I've had encounters and sightings. We've had all kinds of crazy stuff happen, and I believe we found a spot. I don't know if it's in their territory or they just passed through. I want to say they just passed through.
I think because of the game trail,
Right,
I'm like
right.
they passed through.
I think it's they passed through because if it was in their territory, they might have tried to get us out already.
Oh yeah, they would have definitely. Because if you're in your territory, that's another thing they say. They're going to throw sticks at you, throw rocks at you. Some people have even been bluff charged.
Right.
They're going to let you know that you're not wanted in that area because it's their home.
Right. Now that night I had my encounter, the male didn't seem really interested in us at all. That's why the one I think was a female was hanging out because I had young kids.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, but I think we're on their game trail.
Right.
Goes right by our camping area. We're in a perfect spot. And I think that's why we go back to the same spot because we always get something.
Right.
And it's weird because there's people who camp mile down the road or whatever. We're pretty much as far as you could go into the forest without, needing a really rugged four-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
So the people down there, nobody seems, I've never heard anything. I've never really heard any encounters from that area.
Right.
Except for what we, and
Yeah.
we don't really report it. I reported mine to BFRO and they never got back to me. So I don't know, they're a joke to me.
Matt Moneymaker said, "Well, I ain't got time for you there. I've already been there."
Right.
Anyway, just since we're on the topic of Squatches in Washington, my son was in Washington and we were texting last night, and he's got some swag coming to you. Thank you, Jimmy. As soon as I see it, I'm going to share it with you guys. And he said over in Washington, he said everywhere is Bigfoot paraphernalia,
Yeah.
Bigfoot signs. And so now he's intrigued and he wants me and my brother to make a trip up there. So they want to go to the big ticket. Now he wants to go searching in the Washington area. And
Right. It's funny because he got a taste of it. And once you get a taste of it, it kind of takes you over a little bit.
it kind of does. You become obsessed with it because you're like, is this creature real? I want to see it.
I want to say it's like when you see a pretty girl, you become infatuated.
Well, a pretty girl that you want to get to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get to know Sasquatch.
But anyway, shout out to you, Jimmy. The swag that you showed me is going to be cool. It's going to be a welcome addition to the other swag I have. And yeah, you know, if we can, we'll make time and we'll go up there.
Speaking of swag,
Oh, there you go. Rather been
I'd
squatching.
rather be squatching. Yep.
Yeah, but so my son's up there right now, and you know he's up there for work, and he's just like it's everywhere.
Okay, now, yeah, I have a friend. He was on one of our past podcasts, Tater, and he sent us a beer koozie. There you go, right there.
Right here, Tater.
That came from up there. I got a sticker for my car.
Right.
Yeah, but it's up there everywhere.
It is, and man,
And last year was a big benchmark in my birthday thing. And my family wanted to send me on an expedition up there for my birthday, but he looked into it and it seemed kind of cheesy. So it didn't seem legit.
it may have been legit, but it was cheesy the way they were. I'm like, no, if we're gonna go squatching, let's get in there.
Yeah.
You know, let's gear up and let's get in there. Let's not go to picnic tables and do some haulers and wood knocks. I'm
Right.
like, no.
But anyway, it didn't come to surface because I told my family, I don't want no party. I don't want no celebration. You know, I understand it's my 21st birthday, but I just didn't want to make a big deal.
I bought him a hooker. I hope that was good enough.
Yeah. It wasn't, you've heard that Tool song, Hooker with the Penis? It wasn't one of those.
I made sure.
Anyway, I don't know how we get off track so
I don't
easily.
know. We do, but anyway, you know.
Well, you know what's funny is we get off track here so fast at the bar. We stay on track.
I know, but you know, because we were on the Washington subject, and after they found these nests on this episode, that they said we're not having any luck here anymore. So lo and behold, they headed back up to the Washington area. So on these next episodes, that's where they're at.
Yep. And the reason they went up there is loggers were scouting the area. They're going to, cut timber.
Right.
But they found a nesting area. So the government bought the land back and chased them out.
And what kind of telltale sign is that? If you think we got them now, we're going to find them, and then the government, they just come in and buy the land right out from under you, and then say this is it's land that you can't cross, you can't come on, which I think is kind of bullshit because they bought it with our tax dollars.
Right.
We should be able to go anywhere we want on that land.
I agree. But you were part of the government, as was I, and that's just the way it works.
It does, and I'm okay with it. But you know what? If I cross onto that land and they may arrest you, but if you get a lawyer, they're going to drop the charges because ultimately you did buy it with your tax dollars. They're
Right.
What are they going to say? Well, it's our land. No, it's not. It's a people's land.
Right.
It-
They don't see it that way, though. Things have changed. They're not here to represent us. They're here to rule us.
Well, that's why Vladimir Putin does not like America.
And jing, jing, ping, ping, ping. Yeah. But an example of the government buying back land real quick or hoarding the land. When I lived in Guam was 35 miles long and 7 miles wide. And the northern half is where the civilians could live. And there were still bases there.
Right.
The whole southern half was nothing but
Military.
military government. And the whole, so what would that be like about 17, 18 miles?
Miles, yeah.
200,000 people.
Crazy.
Yeah. but
Crazy.
I don't know.
Yeah,
But when you're in a paradise like that, I guess you're happy anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But no, I think, when it comes, I didn't say this, but I never pay attention to stay out signs unless it's private property.
But we do pay attention to no fire signs now.
We
We learned that one the hard way.
Yeah, we do.
It was same thing, fire season. We went up there, and we didn't even really take notice of the signs.
No.
We started a fire, and then here comes a hot shot spraying it down, digging it up, and
Oh, my
that ranger's pulling out his ticket book.
They made, it was such drama. They dramatized it too much.
Yeah, we had everything in a little fire in a big fire pit. It was all controlled, but they made it look like we were going to start the whole world on fire.
Yeah, they thought we were going to start the fire that's burning now, and it was ridiculous. Anyway, we had to pay that fine. So,
But we would never do anything like that intentionally because we love nature, we
Right.
love the mountains, we love the spot we go to.
right, and I'm a little upset because this fire, just so you know, it's the government's fault.
It was a controlled
It
burn.
was a controlled burn, and they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. And now we can't go camping because incompetent people working for the government.
Right.
As I don't know what to say, but it's just how the government is. You said that's how the government is, right? I'm telling you, that's how the government is.
And I want to tell you that in the Jemez, there's no excuse for this because
No.
there's water everywhere. They could have tap little wells, fire plugs all over where they're going to do control
All
burn.
over. There's so many artesian wells that pop up. They could have drilled and yeah. See, it's government bullshit.
Or they don't even have to drill. They could just drop a pump in one of the little streams.
Right. And, I'm not a government hater. Government is needed, but not like our government. It's too big. I'm sorry.
Jilly said it's just perfect.
Well, she just tells me what to say. But I don't know. Yeah, this fire could have been avoided, and we could be up there right now, probably broadcasting live or recording live in the Jemez, because this is the time of year that we go up there and.
Right. Now, I want to say in the Jemez, I mentioned this before, our spot is like, we kind of hit the lottery with that spot because
We did.
We've tried other spots and there's just really nothing going on. But the other spots are they're more populated. Some of them not really, but
Right.
where we are, we're pretty much the only ones, unless it's
We are.
like now Memorial Day weekend. And was it this time last year?
Oh yeah, it was about this time last year.
Because it was a holiday.
We had a group of music lovers that were up there, and what can you do? They made so much
They
damn
they
noise.
went around that wall.
Right, they went around that Biden wall. Yeah, well, not Biden's wall. They went around Donald Trump's wall, and they were up there making so much damn noise that we're like, we come up here to be quiet to get some interaction, and
They had motorcycles going. They had blasting music.
All
they had
night.
disco lights. They were shooting off guns.
disco lights in the forest. Come on, people.
And they were singing karaoke.
Right?
I don't know if it was Ukraine, Russian. I didn't understand them.
I was like, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, forgive me if I'm speaking French a little too much, but today I'm going to speak my feelings because it's one of those days. Anyway, we got off track as usual, but, I'm glad that they went up to the Washington site because they did have good luck. Isn't it in Washington where they found that big footprint?
The one that started it?
Yep.
Yeah, on the logging road.
That's right.
And that's when they coined the term Bigfoot.
Right. No. Expedition Bigfoot.
Oh.
Do you remember the episode where they had a Bigfoot that they found and they said, we're going back to where...
Down when he went down from the old
Yes.
railroad trestle?
Yeah, and he's saying, we're going back to where we had our first good piece of evidence.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
And I just don't think they should go back to Kentucky. Stay in Washington. I think you'll have the best luck.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to use that algorithm that, these sightings here, these say that our best bets are here.
Yeah, I get an algorithm, but algorithms are good for us as humans because we are creatures of habit.
Right.
Especially today because we no longer live off the grid, so we have no choice but to be a creature of habit. We only have so many items we could buy in the grocery store. We only have so many areas we could shop, so many stations we could fuel up. We are totally locked into our environment. These creatures ain't, so I don't think an algorithm's going to work for them.
Right.
And to me, if you try an algorithm for them, it's a waste of time because as the weather changes, as environment changes, they're going to adapt and move. Not us. We're stuck here. If we run out of water, guess what? I bought a house here. I'm stuck here.
Guess what?
I got to figure it out.
We're going to the same store to buy another case.
That's right.
Where they'll move on to a different part. And who knows? Are they going to go north, south, east, or west?
We don't know. They truly follow the environment, and we don't.
I believe they could sense the environment and stuff differently.
I do.
That's why they move.
And I think you're right. So I don't think the algorithms work. So, but I think that Washington is still getting enough moisture. They're still fertile. It's still a good ground for them to habitate. And I think they're going to have the best luck there because some of the most seen, more sightings are in Washington and from Washington all the way up into Canada. And as you get into like the Canadian area, they get bigger.
Right. I'd love for them to move to do a season in Alaska, Port Hook.
Oh, I would
Now,
love that.
if they're serious about finding one, that's
Right? Portlock?
yep.
That would be a good one. Maybe we should write them an email and say, if you're serious, go here.
But see, that's the thing, and I honestly believe if they went up there and they filmed one, it wouldn't be released because that'd be the end of the show.
It would be. I mean, but come on, man, release it. And you
At
know,
least
it's
to us.
well, the show's all about ratings and making money. So even if they found one, they're not going to release it. And speaking of that, isn't there something going on, circulating on social media that shows that they actually may have captured a sighting and they didn't even know it?
Okay, there's a couple of them. Now, I sent you one on Messenger.
Right, that was Maria's. Or no.
Okay.
Well, you sent me both, Maria's and this one.
Right, but anyway, there's one of Maria. It's a still shot in a face in the background. I don't know. I want to see. We're talking about this. We need to see the actual footage.
Right,
And
the
then
episode.
The one I sent him today is they pan and there's something between the trees and they pan back really quick and it's gone.
Right.
Now I didn't think about it, but I'll post that on a link on our webpage,
Right.
or not our webpage, our Facebook page.
Right.
And you guys could look at it and see what you think. He said he had to watch it 4 times
I did.
until he saw what they were looking at. It's just an amateur. He was trying to use a laser pointer, but
Yeah.
But when you see it, you'll know. Look between the trees.
And there's another one, if you have Facebook, there's another one that's been circulating. And I wanted to get, I should have shared it to our Facebook page. And it's Todd Standing. Remember when he did the last one he did? And it's that like chimpanzee, that ape-looking one looking under the tree where
Yeah.
he focuses
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
That one
You
is
can see the
circulating.
lines on the forehead and everything.
That one's circulating too, and I want to share that one. You know what? As a matter of fact, I will probably screenshot it and we'll share it on our podcast.
Right.
Yeah, I was telling my brother, I heard Todd Standing died.
I haven't heard that.
I did. His family asked for, saying, give us respect our wishes, give us peace and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah. But I didn't Google it to see if it was for real because we know people post bullshit like that all the time.
Right.
But yeah, this was months ago that they said, he just up and died.
I'm gonna have to look at that.
I am too. And that could be why everyone's sharing all his copyrighted material, but his family inherits those rights.
Right. Right. Now, when somebody has good information or stuff that don't want to shouldn't be shared, sometimes they just die.
Yeah. Well, sometimes.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean. though.
I
You
know
what I'm
exactly what you mean. It's like I can't remember his name, but he's the one that disclosed the bases in Dulce. And he ended up dying. They said a suicide, but how do you die from a suicide when it was clearly strangulation?
Just like that dude with the island, with all the presidents and
Well,
celebrities,
Well, like
with the young girls.
Well, and I was watching one of my episodes that I like to watch with George Norrie, and L.A. Marzulli, he said that he was threatened, him and his family, because he disclosed before anyone else, once he got wind of the Kandahar giant, he said he was visited by men in black, and they said 3 things could happen. You could end up missing, you could stop talking about it, or.
Right. And that's funny because one time when I lived in Gallup, I had a visit from the shall I say, the people in black.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I drove up to my house, and there was black Suburbans, totally blacked out, 3 of them,
Right.
waiting for me. And once I got out of my car, they were around me, you know, wanting to talk to me. It was nothing bad. It's just somebody I knew wanted to go into one of these branches of the military.
Top secret.
So, and I was good friends with him, so they wanted to ask me some questions about him.
And that's what they do.
But it was funny because once they left, all my neighbors were like, "What did they want?"
If they
And
ever,
I told them, well, you know how, Gallup's a mining town. I said,
Right.
you know how they did all the mining?
yeah.
We're all radioactive.
No, if they ever come to my door and they surround me like that and they say, we want to talk to you, and I'll say, well, you got to talk to Inky, who is my leader. And if those of you who do not know who Inky is, look it up.
Right.
The Anunnaki,
Yep.
the Nephilim, the fallen ones. I'm just kidding. That's not my God, my leader.
I was going to say, you want to leave that there?
But that's to put you on another rabbit hole.
Right. Those are rabbit holes we go down all the time.
And I was reading about that last night. So
It's funny because the guy who did this tattoo, we were talking about the Anunnaki, and
Yeah.
he was talking about Inky.
Inky, yep.
Yep.
So Inky is like one of the main Anunnaki that has brought wisdom to this. Well, we'll talk about it in the podcast, but if you're interested, check it out.
Right. This one was a Squatch. I know
That's right.
we zigzag all over like a UFO, but
We do.
that's just how we roll.
We podcast like a rabbit runs
Yep.
all over the place. Anyway, we got our point across tonight. We're happy to be back. We're up and running again.
Okay, but just real quick, before we leave, we might have to talk about this on a future podcast. This came on social media. Somebody brought it to my attention. I shared it to him and a couple of my family members up here in these mountains just east of Albuquerque. There was something killed, and it looks like a hyena.
The hyena, yes.
Now, they're not native to this. What's a hyena?
You have
doing
those pictures?
here? I do.
Post them on our Facebook
Okay,
page.
I'll put them up there, and maybe we'll talk about them next month.
That's right. It's a big ass hyena if it is. But what's a hyena doing in New Mexico?
And they said maybe it was somebody's pet or a hybrid,
Maybe.
because you know how people get these exotic
Yeah,
pets, and
but
when they can't handle them, they just turn them loose.
And it was huge.
Now, speaking of, I know we're going to end right now, but just on that note, where I work out in the boonies, we have wolves now.
Oh, good. I'm glad we have wolves.
Well, the people I work with aren't happy.
Well, because they
have
raise cattle. Yeah, well,
Now, I know the wolves were introduced or something because they have collars.
if they were introduced then, and they're tracking them.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it was a gray wolf that was reintroduced into New Mexico years and years ago, and maybe the populations have exploded.
But, real quick, I know we're dragging this on. They said at one time there was no wolves, like when we were younger in New Mexico. I got to call bullshit.
I always call
I
bullshit.
got to call bullshit because our dad was a hunter, and he would tell us stories how they would go hunting in the Zuni Mountains, and one time they were cornered by a pack of timber wolves.
Right, yeah. No, just because they say there's none and they capture a few to breed them and then re-release them, no, that's bullshit.
Just remember, these are the same people who say that Sasquatch don't exist.
There you go. Keep that in mind. Anyway, thanks for listening tonight. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you soon. Hey, thanks for watching.
We hope all you YouTubers enjoyed the show.
That's right. And don't forget to reach out to us at cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com.
Peace.
Peace.